The drug, kidnapping and attempted murder trial of Czech Republic fugitive Radovan Krejcir was reminiscent of a movie, with dirty cops and allegations that Krejcir had plans to take out witnesses and the judge who convicted him. How does the state convince witnesses to testify in such a case, and how does it guarantee their safety?
It's not safe for certain cases, particularly the Radovan Krejcir one.
To deal with such complex circumstances, South Africa has a highly covert witness protection program ranked among the top 5 in the world. But what happens when a key witness says he has information that the program has been jeopardized?
There was someone who was put in the witness protection program, the local one, and unfortunately the person was supposed to be killed, and they were in possession of his residential address within the witness protection program.
This witness is now being protected by controversial forensic consultant Paul O'Sullivan after police allegedly relinquished any responsibility to protect him.
The only conclusion we can draw is that they want him out in the open so that they can kill him. They dropped him off at my doorstep.
Another witness who testified in a gang-related murder trial has had to flee his home and job for fear of his safety and that of his family.
I believe the state and the government, they could have really done something. The fact that they wanted me in this matter.
Is the witness protection program as watertight as it's proclaimed to be? South Africa is reported to have one of the highest crime rates in the world. Putting criminals behind bars takes a combined effort between the police and the courts. But often it's the ordinary people who are witnesses to crimes who help police make arrests and courts secure convictions. While working at the Centre for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation in the late 1990s, David Bruce researched witnesses and witness protection and penned some publications on the issue. Today, he is an independent researcher specializing in policing and criminal justice. He explains the 3 different types of witnesses.
There's kind of victims who then might have a kind of personal investment. Then there's kind of people who would be innocent bystanders or, in some ways uninvolved in the whole matter, who have useful information which could be relevant to convicting a person. But a very large proportion of witnesses, particularly I think in witness protection programs, are often people who are accomplices or associates in one way or another.
Bruce says that some witnesses can be intimidated and threatened with harm to discourage them from giving evidence in court, particularly in organized crime or gang-related cases.
It might be reasonable to believe that they are likely to be in danger if they do give evidence in a certain kind of case.
He says that the courts can protect witnesses by denying accused persons bail or by allowing witnesses to testify in camera so as to protect their identities. When there is a very real threat to witnesses' lives, police or prosecutors can refer these to the Office of Witness Protection, which can relocate witnesses and even change their identities. South Africa was one of the first countries in Africa to have a full witness protection program. Kenya is the only other country in Africa to have one. A manual written for prosecutors by the Institute for Security Studies in 2015 says that South Africa's witness protection program has evolved drastically since before 1994 to the adoption of the current model in 2000, which established a covert witness protection office independent of police and prosecutors. Bruce says agreeing to go onto the program takes huge commitment from witnesses.
You might be allowed to bring some of your family members onto the program with you, but then other than those people, you basically have to cut yourself off.
High-profile cases where people have had to be placed on the witness protection program include that of Mr. X, who testified at the Marikana Commission of Inquiry after other potential witnesses were killed, and that of Henry Oka, who was convicted on 13 charges of terrorism, including 2 car bombings in Nigeria that killed at least 12 people in 2010. The high-profile murder, drug and kidnapping trial of Czech Republic fugitive Radovan Krejcir has brought the witness protection program in South Africa into the spotlight. In February, Krejcir was sentenced to an effective 35 years in prison. He was convicted along with 5 other accused on charges relating to the kidnapping and torturing of Beki Lukele, whose brother had allegedly disappeared with 25 kilograms of tik belonging to Krecha.
When Krecha was convicted, 3 of the people convicted with him were police officers, people that are paid to uphold the law of this country. The next trial that he's going to stand on, the people standing with him, will be police officers.
Lukele, who became one of the key witnesses in the trial, was admitted to the witness protection program. According to reports, Krecha allegedly planned to take out the judge who convicted him. The court also received a bomb threat during his sentencing hearing, circumstances likely to make any witness reluctant to testify. Krecha is due to face further attempted murder charges for allegedly plotting to kill controversial forensic consultant Paul O'Sullivan and a lead policeman in his case, Colonel Nkosana Qimba. One of the key witnesses in these charges is Jacob Nare, not his real name, who was allegedly close to one of Krecha's hitmen.
It took me time to find the relevant people that I could talk to. I would have reported that crime long before some other people were killed, but I could not, simply because of the connections that I knew they had within the police system.
Nare was offered witness protection due to the danger associated with testifying in the trial, but refused to join it as he feared for his safety. He says he saw leaked information about where Beki Lukele was being kept while on the program.
It came as a form of an email that was sent to one of the accused who was very close to myself. So that's how I got to know that there is. And then in that email, it was the attachment was like the drawings of the area where he's located and all those kind of street names and everything. So it was clear, but when he received the email, he was communicating with his boss, which is Radovan Krecha, to say that that witness was supposed to be killed. They had to get it from somebody who is within the witness protection program. There is many people that are in his payroll that would want to help him.
Nare says he was taken to meet with National Police Commissioner Ria Piecha and Deputy Commissioner Lieutenant General Setole about his concerns. He claims they agreed to take him to the UK and protect him outside of the witness protection program, which they apparently did for almost 2 years. But in February this year, Nare says he was returned to South Africa and police refused to protect him after Piecha was suspended and the police restructured. He alleges that the National Head of Detectives, Lieutenant General Vinesh Kumar Munu, made this decision and is involved with Krecha. He says one of the accused told him this when they were arrested together in January 2014.
He asked me if I saw the Indian guy who was at the crime scene and so forth and so forth. And I told him, yes, I saw the guy. And then he said, okay, that's General Munu. He's on our side. Do not mention Krecha's name, no matter how they can beat you up or what so forth. Don't say anything about Krecha, because if Krecha goes out, he's then going to help everyone out. And then he was going to be helped by General Munu.
Nare also accuses Munu of trying to dissuade him from testifying against Krecha.
The only conclusion we can draw is that they want him out in the open so that they can kill him. They dropped him off at my doorstep.
O'Sullivan says he's now protecting Nare, which is a very expensive exercise, but that it's also in his interest.
Well, Radovan Krecha himself has tried to kill me a number of times. He's been charged formally with trying to kill me on 2 occasions, so there are 2 separate charges there. There are at least 6 times that I know of where he's tried to kill me. So it's certainly in my interest to make sure that Radovan Krecha spends the rest of his natural life in prison.
How does a key witness in this high-profile case end up on the street without protection? Special Assignment contacted the National Prosecuting Authority and the police for answers. The NPA responded to us in writing. They confirmed that Nare had indicated that there was a hit on Beki Lukele, who was on the witness protection program. They said that the location Nare had been told was incorrect and had reassured him that the witness protection officials are not SABC members and don't have access to witness protection information. But the witness still refused to be voluntarily admitted onto the witness protection program. Special Assignment emailed questions to the police, who refused to respond to them. In a phone call, police spokesperson Brigadier Vishnu Naidu said that allegations against Lieutenant General Munu were unfounded and that he was retiring at the end of March anyway. When asked whether the allegations would still be investigated, Naidu said no cases of corruption had been opened against Munu.
I opened dockets against Lieutenant General Munu as far back as more than 2 years ago. And those dockets have not been properly investigated or not been investigated at all.
The big news is Newsroom.
We also stream live on YouTube.
Whether you're at home, at the office, or at the gym, wherever you are, Newsroom is right there with you. Bringing you all the latest news, updates, sports, weather, and everything in between. Get all the latest news you need on the go via live streaming on our YouTube channel. That's Newsroom, weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Pastor Isaac Adams, not his real name, was witness to a gang-related murder in 2009. Adams has been a pastor for 26 years. His passion lies in working with young people, particularly those involved in gangsterism.
There's a lot of gangsters still today that got saved under my ministry that are still serving God today. Some of them are forced to be there. And unless you sit with a person and find out what made him to become one, you cannot judge the person that are involved in that things and so on.
While he understands that this kind of work can be dangerous, he never anticipated how his life was about to change one morning in 2009 on the way to visit his sister in Helenvale, Port Elizabeth, an area notorious for gangsterism.
And the one guy had a cold drink in his hand, the one called Dakota. And then I took him in my arms and I gave him a hug, and as usual, because this is what I do with youngsters, just to give them a bit of love and so on. So then I kept my arm around his neck and told him about the love of Jesus, how Jesus can change the lives of young people and so on. Then I realized the killer, and he came closer to us with a gun in his hands, and then he emptied the gun, the 16 bullets, in the body of this guy, Dakota. Then I lifted my head and I looked into his eyes, and he looked in my eyes, and I told him, God is going to keep you accountable for what you're doing today.
Although not the target, Pastor Adams was hit by 2 bullets. He was the key witness to the murder of Dakota Hendricks. Hendricks' mother is still traumatized by her son's death.
His girlfriend was 4 months pregnant, and this is the daughter of him. She's 6 years old now. She's growing up without a father. She don't even know her father.
Not realizing how this would endanger his life, Pastor Adams gave police a statement. For 3 years, nothing happened.
It was just only after I was summoned to be at court to go and testify that things started. We got threats on the phones. We took it to the police, where the gangsters said that they are all over. I can run, but I cannot hide. They even said that there's a bullet with my name on. If they can't get to me, they will take my family.
MEC for Community Safety in the Western Cape, Dan Platu, says he often sees how witness intimidation by gangsters deters people from coming forward to report and stand witness to gang-related crimes. Part of Platu's area of operation includes the gang-infested Cape Flats, where he relies on the cooperation of the community to put gangsters behind bars.
They receive visits at home by gangsters, gang members, sending the people, gang bosses sending people to the houses. And that is unfortunately what is happening in South Africa, what is happening in the Western Cape. And that is one of the primary reasons why many community members refuse to go and testify. Over a period of 3 years, 3,100 murder cases in the Western Cape with a 3% conviction rate. That statistic will tell you we're having a problem.
Plato says that through his community engagement in the Western Cape, he's found that people are either not aware that South Africa has a witness protection program or they're afraid to go on it.
I'm week after week in communities, visiting the gangster areas, talking to people, and that is their message. Sir, I've seen what happened, but I'm not even going to bother to go into a witness protection program. I rather keep my mouth shut.
Last year, Plato wrote an open letter published in a regional newspaper about the importance of the witness protection program in the fight against gangsterism, where he highlighted what he felt were the program's shortcomings. Deputy Minister of Justice and Correctional Services John Jeffrey responded, defending the program. According to him, South Africa's program is ranked in the top 5 in the world, and within its 15 years of existence, no witness or relative on the program has been killed or harmed. On average, 300 people are protected in the program and only 6 people abandon the program each year, mainly due to its strict rules to ensure the safety of witnesses.
5 or 6 or 7 years ago, there was a case of someone who was killed on the program. But then it was, as far as I understand, this case was this person had kind of broken the discipline of the program. They'd made, they just had to make contact with someone, and people ended up finding out where they were being held, and so they were killed.
I am aware that not many witnesses in the protection program have been killed over the last couple of years. But the fact of the matter is, witnesses is afraid. They don't want to come forward willingly to come and testify, and we need to listen to them, and we need to address their concerns.
A lot more Africans are getting smartphones.
You've got 150 million people using mobile devices in this country.
This means internet connectivity is increasing. That results in access to information. Some are using social media to share new African narratives through campaigns.
Your friend says, oh, I'm seeing this thing on Facebook. Where is it happening? At Yege Stadium, everybody goes there.
On Network, we tell you how Africans are staying connected. We also have new gadgets, games, and social media news. That's Network with Ms. Phumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 19:30 Central African Time.
A very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday Report.
Lunchtime news amplified.
But for now, this is what they call home. Their hope to shift to a higher ground seems to be against the tide.
Midday Report provides you with more than just news stories.
I just want Port Elizabeth to know that they own a world-class theatre.
Good afternoon. You're with the news at 1 in the headlines.
Very good afternoon to you. This is News Live. I'm Natasha Thorpe. Let's take a quick look at what's coming up in your headlines.
Good afternoon and welcome to A View from the House.
For all things news, tune in to Midday Report weekdays at 12 noon only on the SABC News Channel.
Pastor Adams, who was witness to a gang-related killing and had received threats warning him not to testify, says he was offered the option to join the witness protection program, but he declined.
They said to me that the state, they will not and they can't pay my income that I had per month. And then the next question I asked them about my house. So they said the state doesn't pay, it's not going to pay my house and so on. And then the third question was, what will happen to us after the case is closed and finished? Then the officers told me that after the case is closed, they just take me and my family to wherever I want to go stay. Then I must make my survival on my own. I must start my life all over again.
Adams adds that he decided to withdraw as a witness in the court case as he didn't want to put his and his family's lives in danger. But he says the state prosecutor got a senior official from the Department of Safety and Liaison in the Eastern Cape, Neil Naidu, to speak to him over the phone.
Mr. Neil Naidu even told me that he will make sure that whatever I request will be done. And then he asked me not to withdraw because I was the crucial witness. And that was the reason why I testified. I decided to stay because of the promises from a government official. So I believe I was like misled and I was like really misused in this matter, because the day after I testified, I never heard about Neil Naidu. I never heard about the police or the advocate anymore again.
Pastor Adams ended up testifying against the killer, who was sentenced to life in prison.
The killer was sitting in the court, and some of his relatives. When I testified, I couldn't easily look in the face of that guy because he looked at me, I looked at him sometimes, but I had to do it. I had to do it. Because to me it was like criminals needs to be behind bars.
Gang members in their droves go and sit in court as well, where their followers appear. And just their presence in court, just the manner in which they look at witnesses, those witnesses refuse to continue to testify.
Pastor Esau Eitholder, who also provided testimony for the same murder case in 2012, was shot and killed 2 years later. He opted to leave the witness protection program to tend to his ill mother. The NPA says there's no information to show that his death was due to him providing evidence.
Many times, Rachel, I just feel like getting out of South Africa, because my children and my wife needs me. And I believe the state and the government, they could really done something. The fact that they wanted me in this matter when I withdrew, it's like they forced me to stay in this matter. So I believe they can do something to assist me and my family.
Special Assignment contacted the National Prosecuting Authority for a response to Pastor Adams' allegations about the Witness Protection Program. They declassified the information relating to his matter and responded to our questions in writing, saying that they vigorously deny that they refuse to replace Pastor Adams' monthly income, as the program makes provisions for income replacement. They say that Pastor Adams was more interested in the state providing him with a new house at state expenditure, and that the Office for Witness Protection doesn't enrich witnesses at taxpayers' expense. They say the reasons Adams provided to them in a signed affidavit for not going on the program was that the program will deny him right of movement and communication and financial. State Advocate Jonathan Taser, who Pastor Adams alleges helped Neil Naidu from the Eastern Cape Department of Safety and Liaison allegedly trick him into testifying, said he couldn't recall Adams indicating that he didn't want to testify and couldn't recall getting Neil Naidu to speak to Adams. Safety and Liaison responded to the allegations via email, stating that the Premier of the province at the time had looked into the allegations against Mr. Naidu and was satisfied with his explanation, not elaborating on what that was. Bruce says his research showed that some prosecutors and police may not always be truthful when trying to get witnesses to testify.
Police and prosecutors are often strongly invested in is trying to secure convictions. And so where a witness is kind of hesitating or doubtful about their participation in the case, there's often a motivation on the part of the prosecutor or the police investigator to try and, encourage the witness to cooperate with the program. And so the temptation there in various types of cases may sometimes be to mislead the witness in one or other way. One of the principles of the criminal justice system in dealing with witnesses needs to be a commitment to truthfulness.
The question remains whether the justice system did everything in its power to ensure the safety of the witnesses testifying in this trial, because it was the court which dismissed an application by the prosecutor to have witnesses testify in camera because of the dangers associated.
We have to get to a situation to say not so many gangsters will be allowed in a courtroom. I think we need to get the situation to say that we need to allow certain people in certain high-profile gangster cases and drug cases rather to testify in camera, where the accused don't see the witness.
The Witness Protection Program has admitted no fault in the cases we've highlighted, yet 2 witnesses say they remain with their lives turned upside down. Is there a need to improve the Witness Protection Program in South Africa?
Clearly, there are areas where if a witness feels he's not safe in the program, there are areas where other steps have to be taken.
I think there is much room for improvement, and we mustn't have a situation by saying our witness protection program is so professional that there is never room for any improvement.
If the people running the program think they have the best program in the world, they are going to make mistakes. So you can sometimes fall foul of your own arrogance.
Despite the apparent dangers to their lives, both of the witnesses we've interviewed still feel they did the right thing in coming forward.
I won't say that I wouldn't testify and so on. I think I would have still testified, because to me it was like, if someone is going to rape my child one day or kill my wife, I also would have want someone to testify and say, at least I did see something and so on. I still believe I did the right thing by reporting the crimes to the police. But again, I would not sit here and tell you that I am happy that this is happening. Yeah, but when it comes to the future, I can almost tell you that I do not know what will happen in terms of my safety and